Visual merchandising, creating store space that encourages buying.
First floor, telephones, gents' ready-made suits, shirts, socks, ties, hats, underwear and shoes going up.
Upon completion of this lesson, you will be able to identify what is visual merchandising, know what conditions in which shoppers will only buy merchandise, understand the scarcity principle and when it should be used, tell the difference between a bundled and traditional presentation and which is the most effective type. Prerequisites for this course are store manager non-corporate, corporate professional in the marketing and retail specialist departments, but no previous experience with the subject matter is required. On a lovely Saturday morning, John and Eric are walking along a street when suddenly their attention is caught by a farmer's market. The couple notices a cornucopia of exotic fruits, including a stack of coconuts that are positioned next to a picture showing a pristine palm-studded beach. John and Erica are simply unable to resist the temptation, and before moving on, they buy a large amount of fruit, some of which they have never tasted before. Welcome to the world of visual merchandising. What is visual merchandising? In a nutshell, visual merchandising is the art and science of presenting products in the most visually appealing way. Visual merchandising is the language of a store. It is how a retailer communicates with its customers through product images or presentations. Just as every language has its own grammar and logic, visual merchandising has its own rules and principles too. With a good visual merchandising strategy, products will almost sell themselves. In fact, a study examining the effect of visual merchandising for consumer packaged goods found that the impact of merchandising support on brand switching was approximately equal to a 15 to 30% price reduction. A more sophisticated visual merchandising strategy can lead to even greater effect, achieved by directing shoppers' attention to specific products, triggering unplanned purchases, and establishing a uniform picture of the store. In addition, the presentation of merchandise will contribute to the overall image of the store. For instance, a discount retailer might use simple palettes for visual merchandise presentation, whereas a specialty grocery store could use smart display tables, shelves, and cabinets with products displayed artistically. Therefore, it is very important that the correct visual merchandise strategy combines with all other elements of the store design, such as store layout or the store atmosphere, to convey a harmonious overall store image. When planning visual merchandising, several aspects must be considered. As so often happens in marketing, it helps to look at visual merchandising from the customer's perspective. What do customers expect from the product presentation when they enter a store? A shopper's needs that are supposed to be fulfilled by a store can be summarized by 3 points. 1. Make merchandise visible. Although this point seems to be obvious, this was not what we found in some of the stores we visited and analyzed over 20 years. Sometimes products were simply not regularly restocked, and no effort was made to conceal the gaps. Half-empty shelves may have been the norm in the Eastern Bloc prior to the revolution in the late 1980s, but they are inexcusable in the current age of inventory control systems. Shoppers will only buy what they see. Therefore, it is the essential task of visual merchandising to make products visible. Make merchandise tangible and easily accessible. Shoppers tend to touch most products before buying them. While eyesight is the most dominant sense through which humans gather information, touching helps shoppers make an emotional connection with the product. Seeing is believing, but touching is feeling. The softness of that cashmere sweater, the steady and secure grip of a cell phone, the sensuous curves of a shampoo bottle, and that feeling of sitting on a soft sofa, they all sell the product. Furthermore, giving the shoppers a chance to feel products is a major advantage that brick-and-mortar stores have over online retailers. Nevertheless, many retail stores often use locked display cases or find other ways to prevent customers from helping themselves and selecting the products. For example, placing them on high shelves that petite shoppers have no chance of reaching. While it is understandable to keep expensive jewelry under lock and key to prevent shoplifting, is it really necessary to keep condoms in locked glass displays as it is standard practice in many drugstores? How many paramours who are too timid to ask a sales clerk to unlock the display case have turned away over the years, frustrated and dissatisfied with that store? For many products, shoppers do not want to see just the packaging, but the product as well. Therefore, stores where such products are sold should display a selection of unpacked goods. For example, an electronics store should have a selection of demonstration cameras on display to allow the customer to feel each product, see how it works, and decide whether to purchase it based on their own experience. Many demonstration products may, of course, be unusable after having been touched by thousands of shoppers, but isn't that a small price to pay for the many additional products sold? 3. Give shoppers good choices. Consumers want to have full control of what they are doing. Visual merchandising should be used to give consumers a feeling of freedom of choice, not that they are being forced into making a purchase. Some stores offer only relatively few choices on purpose. This strategy follows the scarcity principle. The scarcity principle is based on the assumption that because valuable objects are rare, artificially limiting their range or availability will increase the perceived value of those goods. Examples are limited editions or sales items that are available for only a very short period of time. The scarcity principle can be part of a successful visual merchandise strategy. If it is used excessively, however, it can restrain a shopper's perceived freedom, which will in turn lower the shopping enjoyment. At the same time, there is also a dark side to having choices. If shoppers are confronted with too many products, they get overloaded. Therefore, measures have to be taken to reduce the risk of overstraining customers and provide a balanced display of choices that works for the customer. Imagine you are in a supermarket where a wide variety of different types of jam are for sale. You see strawberry, blackberry, grape, raspberry, apple, peach, gooseberry, red currant, black currant, cranberry, kiwi, and many more. You name it and they have it. All in all, there are 24 different flavors. Now let's change the scenery. In this new scenario, the supermarket sells only the 6 most popular flavors. Would you rather buy a jar of jam where 24 flavors are offered or where you can choose from only 6? Choice may be good in general, but when faced with a huge variety of products in a store, the situation can become somewhat different. The 2 scenarios we described were part of an in-store experiment conducted by 2 psychologists, Sheena Iyengar and Mark Lepper. In an upscale supermarket in California, shoppers encountered a tasting booth with either 24 or 6 different flavors of jam. Considerably more shoppers, 60%, were attracted to the booth offering an extensive selection of flavors, as opposed to the booth with a limited selection, only 40%. The results were drastically different, however, when sales were measured. Of all shoppers who had tasted a jam from the limited selection, 30% made a purchase, but only a meager 3% who had experienced a large selection bought a jar of jam. In light of these findings, it seems that having many choices does not necessarily benefit consumers or their choices. Several studies have already examined this phenomenon, also called the tyranny of choice, revealing the clear negative consequences of too much choice. By optimizing the visual merchandising strategy of a store, these undesirable consequences can be avoided. There are 2 solutions. 1. Reduce the number of items carried in the store. Many stores have successfully reduced the number of stock keeping units, SKUs, for sale. One of them is Trader Joe's Supermarket. This highly successful grocery chain, concentrated primarily in California, but now expanding all over the United States, carries only 4,000 items, less than 1/10 the number carried by a typical supermarket. Each of the products it sells, though, is carefully selected to ensure that it is of the highest quality. 2. Structure the assortment of products. Offering a limited selection of merchandise may be helpful to ease the burden shoppers have in deciding which products to choose. However, the jam experiment also showed that shoppers are more attracted to a large selection than to a small one. To have the best of both worlds, here's what we have found to work for many retailers. Arrange products clearly and selectively. This effect can be achieved by emphasizing only a few alternatives, but also by having the other alternatives available if requested. For example, record stores often feature the top 10 records of the. In general, merchandise presentations aim at providing a clearly understandable picture of the whole store. In the end, shoppers should easily find what they are looking for. Naturally, the arrangement of an assortment depends on the products offered. For example, an apparel store will arrange products according to its brand, styles, or sizes. In contrast, a grocery store has to consider additional product characteristics, such as expiration date or weight. Nevertheless, there are some points to consider, irrespective of which products are offered. Present merchandise in an easily understandable way. Products should be presented in a logical sequence. For example, tops and jackets on the upper half of a wall, skirts and trousers on the lower half. Sizes should be arranged in ascending order. Facilitate the decision process by merchandise presentation. Products should be not only clearly arranged with their category, but also presented to suggest additional items to shoppers. For example, in a grocery store, mixtures of spices could be located next to the meat corner. Shoppers will appreciate being reminded of products they might have forgotten to purchase, and this won't hurt sales. Locate products at an appropriate height. Whenever possible, do not place products too high. Customers do not want to look up, or too low. Customers do not want to bend down or kneel. Try to avoid gaps. Immediately refill shelves if an item sells out. For example, you can use shelves with automatic feeding, which are often used for items such as cans of drinks. With all these suggestions in mind, a visual merchandising strategy can be easily developed. Props refer to something used to clarify the function of the merchandise being sold or to tell a story about the merchandise. Props are usually not for sale, such as plastic food bottles used in the fruit section of a supermarket or a dressed mannequin. A do-it-yourself store can present a lawnmower on AstroTurf with watering cans and some plastic flowers on it. Props represent important tools used to achieve one main aim of visual merchandising: attract customers even over a long distance. If they are sufficiently surprising and arousing, pedestrians will cross the street to have a more detailed look at the merchandise presented in a shopping window. Similarly, props can be used to attract customer attention in the inappropriate use of props. If you follow these simple rules, you can enhance the effectiveness of props. Use the appropriate amount of merchandise. If too few items are presented on or near a prop, it will seem that the product is sold out, or worse still, that the store is going out of business. In contrast, when using a prop with too many items, the selling message will get lost and the store will appear aesthetically offensive to the shopper. Display appropriate accessories near the prop. A bakery can sell packs of fine sugar displayed in a crystal bowl with cookies, so customers can sprinkle the cookies with sugar at home to make them look nice. In the apparel industry, you can present necklaces, bags, or tights next to a mannequin. Locate the displayed product near the prop. There are few things that annoy customers more than being unable to find what they are looking for. If a customer wants to purchase a product seen on display, you must make sure that she will immediately find this product in the desired size and the desired color nearby. Change the props at regular intervals. How often a prop has to be changed depends on the season and the change of the overall store theme. However, as a general rule, no prop should remain until it collects dust. If you use mannequins, fitting should be always done in a non-customer zone. Some customers might have unpleasant feelings when they watch a mannequin's arm being dislocated to dress her. Display mannequins from a 3/4 perspective. Instead of positioning mannequins so consumers will see them from the front, you should turn them so that the first thing that catches the customer's eye is the mannequin from a 3/4 perspective. See the image on the left as an example. Props and mannequins can be used with every product presentation method. In general, 2 different presentation methods are used: traditional arrangement and bundled presentations. Conventional presentation methods group products by their taxonomic category. For example, different kinds of tables, such as couch tables, dining tables, desks, or by their status, luxury goods versus everyday products. For example, in electronic stores, TV sets are often arranged by size. Another grouping possibility would be to place all TV sets by the same manufacturer side by side. In other words, all products in their various forms, for example, different brands, different sizes, are located next to each other. There are several possibilities for using props in a traditional merchandise presentation. For example, you can place a barrel in the wine division of a supermarket. The barrel alludes to the traditional ripening of wine, and the touchscreen to the left can be used by customers to get more information. An interesting and charming contrast. More and more purchase decisions are made at the actual point of sale. On average, over 1/3 of purchase decisions in department stores are made on impulse. In fact, in some categories, spontaneous purchases make up to 80% of all purchases. Because many shoppers decide on their purchases right in the store, a good visual merchandising strategy can boost spontaneous purchases. One way to achieve this is by the use of bundled presentations. In a bundled presentation of related products, for example, products that are often used together, the products are presented in close proximity to each other. Instead of presenting bread on one shelf, wine on another shelf, and baskets on yet another shelf, in a bundled presentation, these products would be presented in a picnic basket. In order to capture the full potential of a bundled presentation, it is not enough to only display related products. Props such as a meadow and a tree are used to reinforce the usage context and inspire the shopper's fantasy about using the product. There are different ways to select the products to present in a bundled presentation. Usage context. Products often used together because they supplement each other in usage can be combined in a bundled presentation. For example, in a furniture store, tables, chairs, and tableware can be presented next to each other. Occasions. Products can be grouped according to their use for particular occasions. For example, around Halloween, a supermarket could present pumpkins as well as candy on artfully decorated displays. Fantasy theme. Products associated with a common theme can be presented together. For example, a stationer could present products for school children along with a fitting movie or television theme like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, or the activities of a star like Hannah Montana. The biggest advantage of bundled presentations is that shoppers get a better idea of how products can be used and which products complement one another well. This knowledge leads to desirable consequences for retailers. Shoppers in a store that employs bundled presentations evaluate their products considerably better compared to shoppers in a store that only displays merchandise in a traditional way. In addition, bundled presentations have even been shown to put shoppers in a better mood. In most stores, shoppers don't remove a product they like directly from the bundled presentation. If they did, the sales staff would have to redecorate the dining table you see on your left on a daily, perhaps even hourly basis. Instead, retailers usually keep the products that are for sale on store fixtures that are away from the bundled presentation. This made us wonder if a bundled presentation still has a positive effect on the shopper once the shopper has left the bundled presentation vicinity and sees the product naked without other complementary products and props. To address this question, we conducted an experiment in a furniture store. Shoppers had to evaluate a couch that was presented either as part of a living room or in a traditional presentation where the couch was located next to other couches. The results indicate that a bundled presentation improved the shopper's evaluation of the product even when the product was first displayed in a bundled presentation and only afterward evaluated in a traditional product display. These results are good news for retailers because they show that a bundled presentation lingers in the mind of shoppers even when shoppers do see the product again on a shelf. In summary, a good merchandising strategy can have a significant effect on sales. Shoppers will buy only when merchandise is visible, tangible, and accessible. The scarcity principle will make products more desirable, but it should be used cautiously and in moderation. Bundled presentations, which present products in their usage context, improve product evaluation and boost unplanned purchases. Include props in these bundled presentations to make this presentation technique even more effective.